Alright, this is T-Mike, and today I'm shooting a video of how to clean a carburetor. This is a 1968 MQ-14D Johnson 9.5 horsepower carb. It's for restore number 81, and it's in pretty good shape. I don't see any real problems with it, but I'm gonna clean it up. So first thing I'm gonna do is remove the low speed idle jet. And I'm gonna remove the packing washers inside. There's actually a rubber washer and a metal O-ring. And that cleans out the low speed jet. I'm gonna remove the drain plug. And it's got a washer on it. Remove that. I'm gonna remove the choke, plastic choke holder. And now I'm going to remove these 1, 2, 3, 4 screws that'll split the carburetor in half, the lower body and the upper body. All right. And actually, this carburetor is pristine. Look what kind of shape this thing is in. It's beautiful. But I'm gonna go ahead and clean it anyway. So I'm gonna use my little pick. I'm gonna push out the rod that holds the float in. A little plastic pin comes out, and then the float removes. Notice the pin. This pin is the indicator for when you put it back on. That's to stop from letting it go too far down. So that's how it's going to go back on, with this pin facing downward. This cork float is in great shape. Beautiful. All right. Now the needle valve is in the jet. That's got to come out. All right. And now I'm gonna remove the fuel valve. You know, I looked through that thing, and it is good shape. It's got a Teflon washer on it. All right, set that aside. I'm gonna remove the rubber hose. Okay, now there's There's two caps that you can drive out for cleaning purposes. This carburetor is in such good shape that I'm not going to remove them. I'm not doing a rebuild of it. I'm going to reuse all the parts. This gasket is pristine, so I'm going to keep it. On a rebuild, I would remove this, and the carb kit comes with two more that would punch in there. All right. So now I got it completely disassembled. It's in great shape. I'm gonna go ahead and do a soaking job on it and clean it. I'm gonna get out my Berry Chem. All right, so I got my Berryman Chem Dip carburetor parts cleaner juice right here. Gotta have gloves when you do this job. I'm gonna take the jet, the needle valve, and the lower body, and I'm gonna drop it in. Then I'm gonna put the upper body in. Cover it up, give it 45 minutes, come back and it should be ready to take out. Okay, it's been 45 minutes. We're going to open up our chemical. I made me a can of soapy water. So we'll open it up. Take the upper body and drop it in the soapy water. Drop the lower body in there and drop the rest of the parts. We're going to let it soak in that soapy water for about 10 minutes. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes now. I'm going to take got all the chemical off of them, and I'm going to set them on here just to dry. Alright, that's all the parts right here. I'm going to let that drip dry a little while, about 10 minutes. Okay, she's drip dried. Now I got my compressed air, and I'm just going to hit it with some air to get all the water off of it. Now I got my gum out, carb and choke cleaner, and I'm going to take each part and I'm going to spray all the spray into the orifices. I'm going to take my welding tip cleaner with just the right size, and I'm going to run it through all the orifices. Hit it with some more cleaner. Hit it with my air. And that's clean. Now we'll do the upper body. Run my welding tip through it. All the orifices. Hit it again with some cleaner. Hit it with some air. That's clean. I'll make extra special sure that the jet on this is clean. Alright, I'm just going to let that sit. Let this sit for about 5 or 10 minutes, kind of let all that evaporate out, and then we're going to reassemble it. Okay, now we're ready for the reassemble. First thing I'm going to do is put the drain plug back in. Make sure the washer is on it. I'm going to put my main jet Teflon washer back on it and put it back in place. Got it back in place. Now I'm going to drop the fuel needle valve that's been cleaned right down in the center. Alright. I'm going to take my cork, and as I said earlier, this little metal tab has to be facing down. Okay, that tab faces down, and then you reinsert the plastic pin. Okay, so the pin has been reinserted. Now you want to make sure that your float is parallel with the carb. It looks pretty good. Parallel. And what I like to do is turn them upside down and make sure that the needle valve is dropping down with it. See the needle valve dropping down? See the needle valve dropping down? That's what stops the fuel flow. Stops and starts the fuel flow, and it's working good. Alright? So now I'm going to put the gasket back on in just the right place. And I'm going to put the upper body back on. And there's 2 long screws and 2 short screws, right? The long screws go in the long spot here, and in the long spot here. With shorter screws, go into two short spots. And we'll tighten them down. Okay, now I'm going to replace the rubber holder for the choke. And I'm going to put the metal washer and the rubber O-ring back on the idle speed needle valve and put it back in. Once it seats, we're going to come out 1.5 turns. That's 1.5. So when we put the carburetor back on and crank her up, we'll screw it in to get to the idle right. Alright, and that's how you clean a carburetor for a 1968 9.5 Johnson MQ-14D. See you on the next video. Hope you enjoyed the video. Here at Team Bikes Vintage Outboards, we're doing it one motor at a time. Please click on subscribe. I guarantee to provide weekly videos. Au revoir mes amis and laissez les bon temps rouler.